Well, it's just gone 16 minutes past 8. You are listening to Sabah al Muslim on Radio Islam International. Joburg's got a new mayor, as you know, and we are glad to welcome him to our program and to the airwaves of Radio Islam International this morning. Mayor Dada Morero, a very good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning to you and to your listeners.
Well, thank you for your time. Let me start off by asking you, how do you feel upon your election as mayor? You were mayor previously, albeit for a very short time.
Well, the challenges are bigger, and we're at a stage where we are ready to confront the challenges that are facing Johannesburg. So probably it's the right time that I'm back into office.
What's your priority list looking like, Mr. Mayor?
Well, the city has already identified a set of priorities as part of the government of local unity, where we have already said in 2023 January, when we came in, that these are the core areas, and I will mention them quickly. One of them being crime and law enforcement, financial sustainability, service delivery. So those are some of the core priorities, and we are going to focus one in ensuring that we improve on service delivery, the quality of services that we provide, to ensure that residents and customers can find satisfaction in the work that we do. We are going to ensure that we upscale and accelerate on bylaw enforcement, focusing in the inner city, in the main, and of course other economic nodes, to ensure that we can protect the businesses within the city. We are going to look at localized crime prevention by bringing what we call JMPD 10 plus, in an attempt to bring visible policing in all wards, to ensure that there's physical men and women in uniform in those wards. We are also going to then focus on partnerships with national government, provincial government, and the private sector, which is our priority number 4, to ensure that we create sustainable partnerships in an attempt to get resources through the district development model, wherein we can then mobilize private sector and government resources to intervene in the challenges that we are faced with. 4, we are looking at interventions in terms of dealing with the buildings, the bad buildings in the inner city, and creating housing opportunities by taking over those buildings and giving them over to the private sector and private individuals who can bring investments and turn them into commercial spaces and residential spaces. And of course, we are looking at your substance and drug abuse as a core priority, especially in the townships where we are experiencing high levels of substance abuse. So those are amongst the core priorities that we think we have to focus on between now and 2026, to ensure that we can achieve changes in Johannesburg, and of course get satisfactory for the residents of Johannesburg.
Now, you are reported to have promised political stability. How will you ensure that, knowing that you're working within a coalition and coalition politics to date have been fairly tumultuous?
Well, it's all about networking, it's all about political engagements and consultation, so that as and when there are tricky issues, we consult with political parties within the government of local unity, so that we can find a consensus on issues that affect ourselves and the residents of Johannesburg. So that's one area or a recipe that one will have to continue to use in consultation and consensus, including engaging those that are in the opposition to get them also to agree and find consensus on issues that affect all of us and the residents of Johannesburg. In that way, we think we'll be able to keep. We have already kept this coalition, as you know, since 2020. 2023, 2022. In fact, when we came into government, and this coalition has since been working and it has been giving us a bit of stability in Johannesburg. We just have to escalate one or two issues to strengthen this coalition, and by bringing new parties into the government of local unity, it will also help us to ensure stability of the government of the city of Johannesburg.
Now, Mayor, there are those who are critical and skeptical of your new mayoral committee. They feel many of the MECs or MMCs rather who didn't function effectively in the previous under the previous mayor make a return, including the previous mayor himself, and they feel that whilst the previous mayor was the target of much of the criticism in terms of what was not happening or not correctly happening in the city, it was the coalition primarily run by the ANC that was in charge of the city from behind the scenes. So they're skeptical about how much can actually change.
Well, a lot will change. A lot will happen in the city. We'll ensure that we implement the decisions made by council. We'll make sure that decisions made by the executive are implemented. The interests of our residents, the interests of business and our customers are addressed timeously, and we respond to those concerns. Now, the executive, as we have put in, we thought we want to ensure that there's continuity and stability even within the executive so that we can achieve on the objectives that we have set ourselves. Of course, the executive mayor has a responsibility to ensure that his collective does implement the decision that has been made. And I believe that the members of the mayoral committee will be up to their task. And unfortunately, those that are not responding will have to deal with them accordingly. But I am convinced that we've got a team that will do tremendous work in the city. I believe we've got a team that is committed towards ensuring that we improve the quality of services in the city of Johannesburg.
Now, it was widely reported that Action SA made it a condition that if they were to support your election, that the 200 Rand monthly surcharge on prepaid electricity would have to go. Is that now going to happen?
We have made it clear even to Action SA, and we have also made it clear in council that yes, we have taken into considerations concerns as raised by residents on the 200 surcharge, that we will undergo a process of review, but that process does not suggest the scrapping of the surcharge, but it suggests that we have taken into consideration concerns, and at the right time we will then announce the decision of the mayoral committee. But we are also saying uh, whatever decisions we make may only be effected and implemented only in January 2025 during our budget adjustment process, precisely because the law, or rather the FMMA, allows us to only pass the budget once in that financial year, and we have already passed the budget in May 2024. So what it means is whatever decision we make, whether it's a reduction, in fact, I rather have to go upfront and say possibilities of scrapping are really non-existent. We are looking at options, and one of the options is a reduction of the surcharge, not scrapping of the surcharge. We are also looking at categorizing customers on prepaid and which of the customers will not be affected. And already you know that customers that are on our extended social package are not affected by the surcharge, they're exempted. So we have to look at options. We cannot just come in and say we are scrapping when in fact we need the revenue to address maintenance of our electricity infrastructure, the current old infrastructure and the new infrastructure. In fact, you are aware that other metros are already charging the availability charge, and in fact, some of them are even higher than what Johannesburg has proposed, which is the 200, which has already been approved by NERSA. So we have to bring this surcharge, but we will look at what cost and at what price, so that we
Mm.
also protect the interests of the customers.
Finally, Mr. Mayor, I mean, Joburg has had a number of mayors in recent years, right? And each mayor, when they come into office, say the right things and make the right promises. What would your message be to the citizens of Johannesburg as we conclude this discussion as to how they can hold you accountable?
There are processes in which customers, or rather residents, especially through civil society organizations, that I think they'll be able to hold us accountable. They can also hold us accountable through our citizen participation programs, and one of them being the IDP processes. They can use those platforms to hold us accountable. And nothing stops the residents of Johannesburg to even approach the mayor's office, even as individuals, to raise their concerns. It is allowed. And we think through our process of creating partnerships with civil society, with sectors in society, will be able to be held accountable. We have a responsibility to ensure that we deliver on the commitments that would have been made, and ensure that the residents of Johannesburg once more can feel Johannesburg is their city and is their home. So we have to create hope that in fact we will do better in these 2 years that is left. There are things that will be able to deliver to the satisfactory of our customers.
All right, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for your time and for talking to us on Radio Islam International. It's really appreciated.
So thank you so much.
Have a
Salam
great day and
alaikum.
all the best.
Thank you.
That was newly elected Joburg Mayor Dada Morero talking to us today here on Radio Islam International. We are coming up to 8:30. We cross over to our studios in Durban for the latest